All right, we're discussing role of marriage counseling in reducing divorce rate. Our guest is a lawyer, Nana Asmau Muhammad. Good morning, Nana. Nana joins us via Zoom to do justice to this topic. Good morning, Nana. Can you hear us clearly?
Yes, good morning. Happy Sunday.
All right.
Mm.
Nana, just by way of introduction, you are a lawyer, but you also consider yourself, or you call yourself, a lawpreneur. What does that really mean? Who is a
Well,
lawpreneur?
it's a word that's formulated to signify that I'm also an entrepreneur and an advocate of entrepreneurship.
All right, Nana, in your practice, I'm quite curious to know, are you a civil lawyer or criminal lawyer? Because it's as though our topic borders around civil issues.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I
a
want to know, are you a civil lawyer or a criminal lawyer? Where exactly do you fall in your law practice?
civil law and in particular family law, Islamic family law.
All right, in your experience and your practice as a lawyer, or since you were called to bar, tell us, how has divorce rates increased or reduced?
Honestly, from our observation, divorce rate has increased, not just in our society, I mean, in our community here, but it seems to be a national and a global issue. This is something that has become consistent due to a lot of factors and which are becoming of negative effect in our society. So we hope to reduce divorce rate as it is affecting the society negatively.
Actually have increased over time. And you did
Yeah.
mention that there are some factors that have actually led to it. Can you tell us or elucidate on some of those factors that have actually increased divorce in our in our environment?
Yeah, exactly. One of the most prominent factors that have increased divorce rate in the society is the lack of proper knowledge on marital relationship. People don't really understand what it takes to have a happy marriage or and what it takes to have a healthy marriage. So people are mostly not informed, properly informed on how to go about living life as a married couple. So it's one of the basic factors that have caused a lot of marital issues that have led to the increase in divorce rate in our society. And then secondly, we also have the economic factor. No marriage survives without financial stability. And that explains why you asked me that question, lawpreneur, what does it mean? And I told you I'm an advocate of entrepreneurship because I've come to understand that once people don't have financial stability in marriage, that marriage is heading for the rocks. So we advocate for financial stability, financial literacy. You don't have to be a civil servant. You don't need to have a white collar job to be financially stable. You can also go for the blue collar jobs, which are literally skills that you use to earn yourself money as a source of income.
What you just said, and if I got you correctly, you mentioned two factors. One
Yeah,
being lack of knowledge,
yeah,
on the part of the parties that are getting married, and secondly, the
exactly.
economic factor. And it seems as
Yeah,
though one has to do with the people involved, which can be seen as probably a weakness, and the other has to do with the outward, effects of
yeah.
economic factor. Now, my question to you is, how do we manage the weaknesses, which is the lack of knowledge? How do we improve it? And secondly, how do we mitigate, the economic issues such that we can channel them towards, a more successful and thriving marriage?
Well, as for the first question, the best answer is always therapy, which is counseling. I would always advise couples to adhere to counseling premarital and post-marriage. Counseling is simply a form of advice that is given to people to help them go through a particular experience in life. We don't have full knowledge of everything that we need to, I mean, that we are going through in life. But when you go for counseling, an expert is there, someone who is more knowledgeable about that area to put you through, to guide you on how to successfully go through that experience. So back to that, I always encourage and I'm an advocate of premarital counseling. This will go a long way in getting people equipped on how to successfully run healthy relationships, that is healthy marriages. Marital premarital counseling will teach you and will enlighten you on all the things that you're going to go through, the expectations and the likely problems you will encounter on how to solve those problems. He who he who what's the I'm trying to remember the saying about he who has a why will always have a how. There will always be a way out if you understand the problem that you are expecting. So before it comes, if you are proactive, you will know how to overcome it even before it surfaces. So that's the essence of premarital counseling, to mitigate the problems that are likely to come up during marriage. And also when it comes to the financial factor, that's the external factor, it also goes back to the counseling. When people come for premarital counseling, they are made to understand the importance of financial stability in having a healthy and successful marriage. So it will enlighten intending couples on the essence of financial stability so that they'll be able to assess themselves to know if they are capable at that moment. Are they financially capable of sustaining a marriage or not? This will give them the ability to decide to either go ahead or take a step back to make sure that they are financially stable enough to take a step forward towards that marriage. Counseling has a way of enlightening them to get them to see the reality before they go into that relationship.
All right. So, do you have a platform, through which you give counseling,
Of
counseling
course, we
activities? Is it a religious platform or a non-governmental organization? Tell us about that, and then tell us some of the experiences that have
do.
actually stood out for you in the course of you delivering, your services as a counselor.
Okay, actually, we have an NGO. It's called the Aregidon Youth Foundation, where we offer free counseling services to our community. And the reason for the establishment of this NGO is because we have assessed the society and have understood that people do not value premarital and postmarital counseling. And we have understood that they are very powerful, meaning very effective in ensuring that marriage is sustained. So we decided to offer it for free, knowing that people that have not even accepted a particular system, meaning counseling, if we decide to charge them for the services, they may likely refuse to come for it, but we are trying to get them to accept it as an alternative and as the most effective means of sustaining marriages. That's why we made it free. We offer the free counseling services through our NGO. And then I also offer the counseling services through a religious association, the Muslim Lawyers Association of Nigeria, the Kebbi State chapter. Whenever we have issues, marital issues coming to us, we give them free counseling services, but this is a faith-based issue. We give them Islamic religious counseling service through the Mulan. And then my experiences, oh my God, they've been good, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have seen situations where men are angry that women have come to us for advice, for counseling. And we have seen situations where we have rescued marriages that were about to break. Mostly the records are positive. We were very successful in rescuing marriages from breaking. So I would say in totality that the experiences are good. And we hope that people will get to accept counseling in their lives as the means of salvaging their marriages.
All right, Barrister Nana. It's really interesting that you said you have experienced some had some experiences rather where men were angry that their women came to you for counseling. Can you take us through that experience, or rather, is there a way your organization tracks or evaluates outcomes or impact? How would you say that your intervention over time has actually played out positively in your area of focus?
Well, actually, we do have a system of evaluation by which we try to track the families we have intervened in. So we check in on them after some months and sometimes some weeks to see how effective our intervention has been. And so far, we have recorded successes in all the families we have intervened in. And we try to consistently check up on them to make sure that they are keeping to the terms of what they agreed on so that they can be able to sustain their relationships.
All right, that's interesting. Now, you have said a lot concerning premarital counseling, but does your organization offer, for lack of a better phrase, in marriage counseling and continuous, in other climes they call it continuous quality improvement. Do you offer such services? Because you say you
Hello,
monitor them over time. Have you had
please can
any
you come in?
opportunity
I
of
lost you for some
offering your
seconds.
services, your counseling services in marriage, maybe 5 years after, 2 years after, a year after, and tell us how that has been for you. And then secondly, have you had any opportunity of dealing with any form of gender-based violence, from some of the couples or marriages that you've had to counsel?
Please can you repeat your question? I lost you earlier for some seconds. I am only able to catch the last part, which is on gender-based violence, but I didn't get the first part, please.
All right, my question earlier
Mm.
was, do you have continuous counseling, as the marriage progresses? Have you had cause to go back and counsel marriages a year, 2 years, 5 years down the line, depending on how long your organization has existed? In other non-governmental organizations, it is actually called continuous quality improvement. Do you have such services available? That's my first question. And the second one, have you had any form of gender-based violence issue that you had to deal with in the course of discharging your counseling duties?
Okay, as for your first question, to be honest with you, our NGO is not so old. It's just barely 2 years into existence. But we do continue to check up on our clients to make sure that all is well with them. We kind of continue to give them therapy to make sure that everything is sustainable. Because our main aim is sustainability of marital relationships, because we know the impact of um negative relationships on the society, which is the breeding of socially irresponsible children, and which are going to be of negative effect in societal development. And as for the second part, yes, we have had issues of gender-based violence and we had to intervene. The intervention we brought actually brought peace, but then we had to warn him. We had to tell the husband, it was the husband that was beating the wife, and we had to warn him that there is no need for that. For goodness sake, she's the love of your life. If you love her and you truly want to keep on staying with her as your partner, why would you lay your hands on a woman? And we got him to understand that what he did was wrong and he promised never to do it again. But we assured him that we are watching him, our eyes are on him, and if he ever gets to do it again, we'll make sure that he gets to the proper place. The law will take its course.
All right, it's well, needless to say, it's important that marriages succeed everywhere, not just
Yeah.
in your, in the locality where your organization is domiciled. Now, do you
Yes.
have any scalability plan or sustainability plan? And how robust is your funding to ensure that, your services, go across the nation so that there will be, bigger, more, robust impact?
Well, we actually have a plan of going global, honestly. We don't want to be limited to our society alone. So we're thinking, I mean, we have plans of starting podcasts, live shows, just to get the interest of other people and for other people to have access to our services. Even if you're in China, if you wish to have access to us, you can just go. It's technology era. You can be far away and you still have access to information back home. So we want to have a wider outreach to people. And then our funding, yes, we have very limited access to funding, but we still plan to expand to get more access to donors. We have donors already, but it's not sufficient. We need more money. And once we start having enough, we are definitely going to expand to have a wider outreach so that we can have greater impact in the society. That is our hope and our aim.
All right, Barrister, you did mention that it's important to ensure sustainability of marriages. It's important that marriages raise socially responsible children. Now, that seems to me like a different kettle of fish. The ability to raise children right and also the ability to sustain a marriage. Now, do you have projects or programs or initiatives that are targeted towards awareness or knowledge of how to raise children to be socially responsible?
Yes, of course we do. Last year we had a program, we organized a program, a public awareness sensitization program that had a massive turnout. Very impressive. We were very, very, very overwhelmed by the success of that program. It was an enlightenment program on the role of marital counseling in societal development. And we had a wide number, I mean, a large number of people in attendance, and it made a lot of impact. As a result of that program, we had a lot of people coming to us for counseling, and that was the aim. The aim was achieved, and we equally have a program we intend to organize this year to increase the awareness on the importance of counseling in sustaining marriages and in raising socially responsible children, which is effective parenting.
Now, the objectives, or rather the goals of your organization, is quite lofty, and it seems as though it's something that you will need support from government or civil societies. Now, tell us some of the collaborations you've had, in the course of running your organization.
Well, we have collaborated with some government organizations. We are even still in partnership with them, and we're expanding our partnerships to other NGOs and other governmental organizations as well. This is to ensure we have a wider impact in the society. And we also intend to expand our services to not just our community. As I said earlier, we want to have a wider outreach, make sure that we're able to have access to all the local governments in our community and even all the states of the nation as well.
All right, Barrister, before we let you go, you did allude to the fact that your organization is barely 2 years old, it's quite young. but
Yeah.
what are some of the outcomes or products of some of your initiatives and projects? If you can give us numbers, so number of families were rescued, number of marriages were seen to the next level rather than crashing. We did this. So, can you give us numbers, statistics of your outcomes? Because I can't use the word impact because you're young, and in the field.
Yeah.
So, can you give us numbers of some of the outcomes and
Yeah.
outputs that you've been able to achieve as an organization?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, counseling is kind of a thing that people are yet to familiarize themselves with. So we are trying to get them to accept it as a way of life. But so far, so good. We have recorded successes. We have successfully counseled over 20 brides in premarital counseling, and we have successfully intervened in family conflicts I think, I don't want to be wrong, but we have about 30 marriages that we intervened in, and we successfully brought peace into the families, and they are living well, and the marriage has not broken. We were able to patch it back together, and they are happily together. And then the programs we have initiated are actually giving birth to more programs. That is the awareness programs. And we have also started having radio programs to sensitize the public on the essence of counseling in saving marriages. And we also intend to go further than that. Although we are young, but I must say we have done so well and we intend to do better. But that is only with the support of the society and with collaborations and partnerships that we are going to have with governmental and non-governmental organizations.
All right. You did mention that you also collaborate with Islamic uh, groups to bring, peace and ensure marriages last uh, within the Islamic, sects, if I'm allowed to use that word. Now, is your organization cross-religious in the sense that do you have other religions like the Christian and traditionalists, whatever religion, have you had, to bring your counseling services to homes or to couples who are non-Muslim?
Exactly. We are privileged to have intervened in the relationship of non-Muslims marriages, and we have successfully been able to counsel them. Although I must say that we are faith-based, but then our doors are open to anyone who believes counseling is for them. We currently have two non-Muslim, in bracket, Christian families who are receiving our counseling services, and we are glad and happy to say that they are doing well. Our aim is just to save marriages and bring peace into the society.
Okay, brilliant. Where do you see your organization in the next 5 years? What do you hope to achieve? And how do you see your scope expanding in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, we hope to have a greater outreach to be able to station ourselves in all the local governments in our community. Because in Kebbi State here, we have 21 local governments. We hope that we'll be able to have offices in each local government and then at least have other offices in the northwestern zone of the country. Are you at? No.
Okay, so finally, before we let you go, aside the issue of funding, what other challenges have you experienced trying to bring counseling to families, in your area?
Hmm. It's simply acceptance. We need people to believe that counseling is for them, because we seem to have this issue of people refusing to acknowledge counseling as a solution to marital problems. They see it as a Western idea, as a foreign idea, and some even see it more of meddling. a form of meddling, interfering, lack of privacy, lack of secrecy. And we tell them counseling is more of confidentiality. When you come for counseling, a counselor has a duty of confidentiality to safeguard your privacy. And the fact that you seek external counsel, you seek external help, advice to solve your problem, there's nothing wrong with that. Our people, and will I say it's kind of a global issue, people tend to see counseling as a more of as a way of publicizing your marital issue, where mostly cultures are of privacy. They tell you when you have marital problem, don't expose yourself, don't bring in a third party. Counselors are not third parties that add fuel to the fire of your problem. Instead, we are like water. We calm down and cool the fire in the homes. So it's the biggest challenge we're having now, and we hope to get people to accept it through sensitization and enlightenment programs.
All right, Barrister Nana Asmau Mohammed, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the good work that you are doing. We sincerely hope that you get the funding and the sponsorship collaboration you need to move forward. Thank you so very much.
And thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Have a blessed day.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.